What's your Instagram handle?
God. Wild-Idaho.
Wild_Idaho.
Okay, so recently you did the scope drop test and you were
Yeah.
Hey,
I've dropped me some Maven.
dude. So this to me that stirred
Maven
up.
shared it. I was proud of him.
It did. Well, it stirred some shit to me, like reading comments and things like
Dude.
that, right? Like, so people.
There was a guy who said it was not ethical to drop my gun.
Exactly.
And I'm like, what kind of fucking dildo doesn't think it's ethical to test your equipment? So it's more ethical to have a shitty scope that doesn't work and go out and just maim stuff?
Welcome. Thank you for joining us today on this session. I understand that your urges have been increasing dramatically when it comes to shooting and killing things. Some may say it's comparable to Joe Biden's urges to fondle the little ones. Canoodle them, that is. Rest assured, because today we embark into the world of shooting and hunting. Joining us now, Jake Mushaney and Ryan Avery.
Host and then co-host.
We had to explain what colored co-host was to Jake.
Fuck.
His mind went dark quick.
Hey,
we had to get him back on the road.
This intro actually, because there's somebody here that loves killing.
Yeah.
In fact, has quotes about killing and dreams about it all fucking year long. Mr. Dioni Amuchastagi.
Yep.
Damn.
Nailed it.
Nice.
It takes a while.
Yeah. And then Joe Biden, to talk about Joe. We just had Joe Biden, on a debate.
Sniffing them kids.
Yeah, sniffing kids. Anyways.
I'm proud to say he just got, it wasn't even Trump. He fucked himself. Biden fucked himself.
They're all full of shit.
I like the part where Trump said he didn't even know what he was talking about.
He's like, I don't know what he said. I don't think he knows what he said either.
When he starts babbling, he looks over at him like, what the fuck is this guy saying?
He was even keeping a straight face though. Like while he was stumbling all over himself, there's Trump fucking with a straight face.
I only saw the parts that came into highlights on Instagram.
Oh shit.
Like pretty much Trump looked forward the whole time. But when old Joe would start babbling, he'd be like, what you talking about, Willis?
Oh, Jesus.
We are not good hosts because last time we offered him some whiskey.
Yeah, but we know he doesn't drink now.
But we didn't even offer him some whiskey.
That's true.
Do you want some whiskey?
I am on vacation.
Really?
What's the options?
Yeah, dude.
I heard one where you guys talk about nobody ever takes the whiskey.
Did you not drink whiskey last time?
Hold on, fuck. I'm gonna go. Hey, I'm gonna go find the ice. Hold on.
All right.
You guys do your
all right.
Hitting pause or
no, we'll keep going. The funny thing is we probably had what are we at, like 70 podcasts, Jake?
There's dust on them.
70, and I think you drank and the guy from Wiser Precision are like the only two people that have drank since we've been in here.
So everybody else is rude.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty rude.
Hey, one of those up there is a big money bottle.
I don't know which one it is. We tried I think it was a Colonel Taylor with you last time. No?
I probably just drank Crown.
Oh, shit.
This one?
Yeah.
Crown?
I just drank Crown.
Oh, yeah. I'll drink some Crown with you.
Yeah. I'm not fancy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of fancy, but not too fancy.
We haven't had you, what were you on here about a year ago?
Like exactly a year ago.
And what the rock stock wasn't even in existence.
It wasn't a thing. The Tikka action machining wasn't a thing. I'm actually super impressed with how those came out. I think that podcast was actually the where I gave you guys the idea for that. Because me and my buddy Ward mutilated some actions.
Yeah, you and the other dude on Rock Slide.
There was a few people that did it. I definitely didn't come up with it on my own.
No, but it was you and that Sadler, Josh Sadler, maybe.
I have no idea.
Had a light action that's what turned into it.
You guys made it much, much, much nicer.
Did you get the nitrite too?
Yes.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
He when Jake gets back on here, we have to talk about a particular guy on Rock Slide that cracks me up.
Thank you, sir.
We got into last time he was here
above the ice, top of the ice,
right at the ice top. We got into he was kind of the idea last time he was here about the lightning. Him and the guy Sadler.
Yeah.
Definitely. So we're talking about that, and I was talking about we're bringing up threads on Rock Slide. And I said we're going to bring up a thread. Well, I want to bring up the one that said the nitrite sucked and wasn't slick, which
I was going to bring that up too.
which was the first time out of the 3 actions that I have that I'd be like,
Is that guy a gun oil salesman?
come the
Like,
fuck on. It's fucking way slicker if you do your part.
It's incredible. You can take one of your guys' machined actions, which I have a machined action that's not
So
nitrated.
I fucking
Like how you did.
dude. I brought this one because it's about to be chambered with a barrel. I'm sorry, I interrupted
Yeah.
you, but it's about to be chambered with a barrel, so all the guts are out, right?
Yeah.
And you just
They're comically slick. Like it feels smoother than a factory Tikka action that doesn't have anything done to it.
Yeah, I don't. When I was reading that, so people always think that I'm the nice guy and Jake's the asshole on this. I'm really the asshole and Jake is the nice guy.
Jake is also the host.
Because I read his thread and then I tell Jake and he's like, "Oh, he just emailed me,"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "You need to tell this guy he's fucking retarded."
yeah.
And he's gonna know who he is. I don't really care, but I'm like,
So then I read you my reply though.
yeah. And Jake's diplomatic, and then Forum gets on there and says, "Hey, you might want to put some fucking lube on the fucking thing.
Yeah.
You might want to put a little bit of grease on that thing."
I don't
Yeah.
know, man. I've run mine dry and they are still just slicker.
Oh, it was the caulking mechanism basically.
Oh, okay.
Right. So it's brand new. We just put it back together and
Yeah.
he gets it. And of course, just like any new rifle or any new thing in the fucking planet, usually something's a little stiff to start,
Yeah.
and it needs whatever.
Well,
but
I'm thinking
Sharp
right, mine-
edges on machining, like stuff wears in.
yeah, and
yeah,
he
machine
tells me
marks, some oil on there and
like
shit.
the shit that me and I mean, are you fucking serious, dude? Like
They're
how
comically
slick. What's that? A 5 degree?
Not very steep.
You can hear it.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, either there's something wrong with this action.
And that's what I
Or-
told them.
Yeah, there's because I'm thinking, man, mine are almost too goddamn slick.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
that's
have seen
interesting.
some Tikka actions, way less than you guys, obviously, but some of them are not as slick as others. Like they are
Oh,
not
I agree
all
with
the
that.
same.
You talking just factory?
Well,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah, yeah,
In
yeah.
fact, we had a couple real rough ones at the shooting school here a couple weeks ago.
I don't know. That was horrible conditions.
It was.
That was
Yeah.
that sand was like it was so abrasive and rough and like it just if there was any conditions that you could mess a gun up with, that was it.
Definitely.
The second week with the rain was even worse. 'Cause
Yeah.
it kicked up all that
Form
dirt
told
and
me about
sand and
that.
shit.
So we pulled the guy's rifle in. We brought 2 rifles back. One of them was complaining about feeding, and the 223s are the most picky about feeding.
Yeah, they got a thumbnail to grab that shell. Basically,
Keaton takes it, cleans everything up, takes 3 different mags, and it's flawless feeding with 3 different Tikka mags. Could not duplicate the problem.
didn't he shim it?
And I think they shimmed it up at the class.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I can attest that it was not working at the class, so it
Yeah.
had to be partly conditions because there were fucking problems with them.
Yeah.
And the thing that's funny, and you talk about Tikka actions that are different factory wise, I do notice because I have had quite a few stainless steels. You can get some like fucking chippy, like stainless steel, like they have some fucking rough marks or something,
Mhm.
but it wears. You know, you get 20,000 rounds on it, everything just
Mhm.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, they just fucking.
Most
works.
people don't shoot 20,000 rounds their whole life.
Yeah, but I'm just saying the stainless can be worse than the blued at first.
Oh, so before we get too carried away, it actually kind of applies to the guys, reaching out to you through DMs and then emailing me and complaining and all this shit. But I kind of want to touch just for a few minutes. It doesn't really apply to having Dioni here, but I'm sure you have input on this. But I wanted to just talk about small business for a second because I think it all applies. The rock stock applies everything that we're doing, and like this guy, for example, when he has the problem with the action, dude, he could have called
Mhm.
and talked to me. Like specifically, we could have talked through the problem, but instead he's posting a thread. He's DMing you. He's emailing us. And the way these guys are emailing to try to get a problem solved, like all we want to do is send out perfect shit,
Mhm.
but everything's not going to be perfect. But we are willing to do anything it takes to like help a customer, right? And that's how I ended the email that I read to you. It said, Unknown Munitions will always do whatever it takes to make a customer happy. How can I make you happy?
Mhm.
Because he didn't really complain about something specifically. He was just whining,
Mhm. To be just so it's honest and true, he didn't DM me. That was a post on the thread. He
Okay.
didn't DM me about that action.
Yeah, but he jumps on a public forum
Oh, correct. Yep.
to complain about the issue he's having with one of our products.
We'll take that to another level. Is there's so much hearsay bullshit on the rock stock that I came to you and I said, hey, they said this came out of unknown and this came out of unknown. And you're like, no, that, this didn't. So anyways, you went in and kind of cleaned that up. That there's a lot of bullshit that's not true on that thread.
There
that
is.
People are just taking information and false information and running with it.
But at the same time, I also admitted that they could potentially get false information from one of my people because we have 20 plus people here. And we get these guys that will call and email every extension and every email address trying to get a different answer. And at some point you're going to get one. And then they get one. It's like they have this fucking cookie they want to go share with everybody.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even the correct case because the employee didn't have the correct information.
It's like fucking TMZ, dude.
Yeah.
They're running back. Here's the thing. If you don't talk to Form, me or Jake, you probably don't have the right information.
So this all sounds kind of, and I don't want this to come off negative. So I was walking, we were closing up shop today. And as I was walking back through the shop, I look around and I think to myself, holy shit, just look at all this shit. Like there's just shit upon shit. There's $1 million of shit just in this fucking building, right? And I'm looking around and I'm thinking back,
That's
like
what the Trailer Park Boys saying.
dude,
Yeah.
I'm like, so I'm
Shit upon
building,
shit.
I'm building like, I'm picturing in my mind, I'm building the fucking cabinetry that I bought at Lowe's and countertops in the fucking single car garage over there where we started. And then I look around here and even looking in here and even being here with you guys, like everything, like I'm so fucking thankful that everything has happened the way it happened. Everything had to line up perfectly, dude. The stars had to align. COVID had to happen. We would not be here. I had to meet Ryan. I had to, everybody I've met that's helped in business and helped us grow, like everything had to happen in a perfect fucking order for all of us to be sitting here today. And then I hear, and then there's this guy. And I was telling Ryan the other day, I wish people could just understand how much we care. Like the whole rock stock thing. I just want it to be perfect. I want it to be perfect so bad that I'm going to put my ass on an airplane Sunday and go help fix the problem. And anyway, so these people, I think they're so used to bad companies and bad customer service that everybody's forgotten what it's like to work with. Everything used to be a small business. Everybody used to trade with each other, barter.
I don't honestly totally agree with you, but to give some not even giving people credit. Like my job is technical troubleshooting, and it's incredible how many people take the least direct route to try to fix a problem.
Yeah.
Everybody has to come up with some crazy fucking idea of what could be happening. And almost universally, it's always the simplest thing that could go wrong that did go wrong. And instead of like looking at all of the obvious shit in front of them, they got to look for some boutique reason why things didn't work.
Yeah.
It's like, it's never the obvious thing. It's like, well, maybe instead of like just coming up with 10 different things you could do to complain about something, like call the most direct resource you have to try to get to the bottom of the actual problem.
Yeah.
And say, hey, is there a fix for this? Do I even have a problem?
Yeah.
A lot of times it's people just using their own shit wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I find a lot.
Yeah.
But it's like, man, I don't know if people's brains just don't work in like a linear logical path.
Yeah.
But
I think at the same time too, though, from the big corporate side to small business, they expect not to get any attention. So because they think they're not going to get any attention for their problem, they try to use this public forum to raise enough fucking bullshit about it that somebody's going to pay attention to them. It's just not that way. Like we are just not that way here. And I don't care how big we get. You know, I teach all the people the same thing. The customer in front of you is the most important person in the building and so on and everything. I don't want to, obviously I shouldn't say publicly that we're going to help you in any fucking way we can, no matter what happens. But basically that's it. I mean, we've given refunds to guys on shit they bought 2 years ago. You know, whatever the situation is, we're just here to fucking help.
People expect customer no service.
Yes.
They assume they can take any nugget of negativity, and not just Rockside, this is just human nature, and run back and say, aha, these guys fucked me.
Yeah.
And I see it over and over again, Rockside, and it's every company. Like you can take, I see one on Leica not too long ago. I saw one on Zeist not too long ago. Chances are, it's just like you could talk to the wrong person at UM. You could talk to the wrong person at Zeiss.
Yeah.
If you got the wrong answer, the answer you don't like, don't go right back and bash it online. Try to talk to somebody else there, because chances are, if you talk to the right person, you're going to get your way.
Yeah.
But people just want to run back and say, aha, this company fucked me.
if you're reasonable.
Yes.
There's a lot of
Reasonable. Don't be an
unreasonable
asshole.
people out there.
But I will say Jake has changed my mind on some of this, because I am, fuck that guy. Like I probably in my mind say that 50 times a day. And Jake has changed my mind from the answer is yes. And I don't know if you want me to say this out
That's
there.
fine.
But he's
Because
always
that's the way
like,
it is.
and I'm always, the answer is no. So I'm like, Jake's answer is yes. So now we have a team of 3 guys that shoot to hunt. And I always tell them, I said, I am a classical no guy, but I got to agree with Jake. The answer is always yes when the customer comes to us. So, and it snowballs into this thing of, I can't say how, like, it's kind of like rhetorical, but it's like a positive thing to where chances are we're not in the business. Shoot to hunt UM isn't fucking anybody. You're going to get your stock. You just got to give us a little bit of patience and not run back and say, aha, I got him.
But at the same time, so with all this being said, mostly what we're saying is almost, I don't want to call it negative, but so on the positive side, we don't often say thank you to the listeners, thank you to all of the customers of Unknown, thank you to everybody that does get on Rockslide to, have a good time and involve themselves and post and read. Thank you for, Shoot to Hunt's evolving into other things. And anyway, so when I was walking through the shop, it was almost like a tear shed kind of moment. I didn't shed it, you know what I mean? But it was like a holy shit.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
Yeah. I was like, holy shit, look at all this stuff that has happened. And when I say shit, I just mean because, it's 8,000 square feet of stuff. And I don't want to say that I'm, it's all my stuff. That's not what I mean. It's like, I know that I'm only one person. We can never do it without the 20 other people that work here. And we try to hire the best people that care the most about what we do and all that good shit. But it takes a big team of people to make shit happen. And so I'm thankful for the business that's developed in 5 years. And again, for the listeners and whatnot, all you guys are helping in one way, shape, or form, as long, if you're supporting us. And
yeah, and the people that I have that I call friends now, which I would include you two guys, is I would have never had without this industry. I wouldn't have. I'd never met Dioni. I would have never met a Jake. And the 1%ers kind of fucking, the squeaky wheels get greased and they're the negative fuckers to where there's 99 really fucking fantastic people out there percent.
Yeah.
So I'm not crying. You're crying.
And there's a lot of, of all the industries you could be in, there's a lot of good people in the hunting industry specifically. Absolutely. Because it takes a team. I mean, if Dioni, if you think about all the different gear that you have, all the testing and shit that you went through and all the favors and help that you've asked of different people to get you to where you're at in your hunting experience. Yeah, it's you out there fucking busting your ass, but fuck, it takes a world of people that create all these products and care about the hunting industry in order to get you to where you were.
Well, God, and even at the closer level, like for a lot of years, like, I just hunt by myself. I'm doing this all by myself. It's like, God, there's been so many people help me along the way. So many people that I've gotten some little nugget of information from, even outside of the hunting world, and just so many friends that have given me good advice and helped me with things that I couldn't have otherwise done.
Well, and like just for instance, and this is what's crazy about the hunting industry. I roll up to the podcast and Dioni's doing a gun drug deal outside. And you wouldn't see that in a lot of other freaking kind of industries.
No.
It's very interesting, the hunting industry.
Yeah.
Because we're kind of shadow banned. We're kind of, people think we're these outsiders and we all kind of stick together.
You can even say what it was, dude. It was a Magnum rifle primer that may as well be fucking crack as far as those may as well be crack rocks, dude.
Crack.
Yes.
Helping my buddy Carl out. He had a panic attack when he figured out he had 5,000 of the wrong primers.
There you go. But again, so that's a friend in the industry, and maybe he'd do the same thing for you. At least you hope that,
I know he would.
Everybody's looking out for each other. And the same thing happens with primers here, dude. We have good people. I don't sell primers really, but if a fucking guy comes in and he's going to miss his hunt because he needs a ream of he needs 100 CCI 250s, fuck, man, here you go.
Yeah.
You're going to ruin somebody's hunt over that shit, but
there's a lot of horse trading in this industry.
There is. But anyway, so that's kind of the negative side of small business. We're not going to tell the whole business story, but just everyday operations, man. It's
we don't have
businesses
tissues for the whole story.
Yeah, it's fucking small. Well, small business in general is just fucking hard, dude. Day in, day out. You don't have the opportunity to burn out and put somebody else there. We're here every day and we care. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here every day. So
yeah, the backbone. Small business is the backbone of America still.
Yeah,
and nobody knows the stresses of small business owners. They just don't. And
if you can fucking help small business, whatever. You get to choose where you spend your money. They talk about this with farming and food and, whether it be organic or, buying grocery store, that kind of shit. But you choose where you spend your money. You can spend your money at Cabela's or Shields, or you can spend your money with a small business that carries the same product for the same retail price. Just be aware of that. And it can make a big fucking difference. I saw this little reel on Instagram one time, and it was this little donut shop or cupcake shop. And a customer comes in the door and there's a screen. And of course, the owner's there. And she comes in and then they order some donuts or cupcakes or whatever. They walk out and then you see the two women like duck down behind the fucking counter right there. And they're fucking
doing their little happy dance.
They're got this fucking happy dance going on, dude, because that might have been their first order or their second, whatever it was. But that one single sale, and I can remember this shit because when we first started, you open the fucking website up, and it was a buddy of mine that bought the first thing. It was a hat. His name's Alfonso down in California. But every order that came in, new order, it was a fucking deal, man. And that's
Yeah.
what small bit like that. And now it comes in, we get 100 orders a day, and you kind of just delete them as you're going through your emails. But it's just, that's a fucking.
It is. It's funny you said that because I've sold lots of things in my life, but the first couple orders from Shoot to Hunt, you're like,
yeah. Fuck yeah.
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 All right. Well, we should probably talk to the guest that's here
Yep.
about shooting and such and big mule deer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first question of order I've already asked you, but you got a big deer found out there in the world?
Yeah. We'll see if he turns into what I'm hoping he turns into, or if he's even still alive.
The motherfucker's already a monster. He's not turning into nothing.
He was wide, but he didn't score super good. So.
Good Lord.
I asked Jim Carr this, but I'd like to ask you this question. How early in the season do you know you have a deer that's probably going to be big?
Oh man, it's tough, but some deer will be a month ahead of others. Like, so you'll find some deer that looks like they're totally finished at the end of July, and some deer are packing it on right up till the end of August. So it's hard to say, but mid-July, early July, you can usually kind of tell what they're going to turn into. Like if there's some of them that are like, holy crap, well, that's obviously going to be something good. You don't know if he's going to have long tines. You don't know like necessarily how he's going to score. If he's got extras, he probably hasn't started sprouting those off yet, but like you can, big bases and eye guards are pretty undeniable. So
that actually goes along with the question. So what, we drew a tag. We don't need to talk about units or like what if deer's in the unit or not, but basically the tag runs from August 1st to December 1st. So
Runs from
August 1st, August 30th to December 1st.
Yes.
So when I told Ryan that we drew the tag, he's like, oh man, the first week of September is awesome. And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck, the first week of September? Well, he explained that when they're growing their antlers, they stay out in the open more because they don't want to fuck their antlers up. Now, I would have never thought about that. So the question is, from that August 30th to December 1st date, like what date range are you picking in a unit you haven't scouted? With the hopes of finding what you're looking
that's
for.
Dumb. Why wouldn't I scout it?
Well, let's pretend it's in New York.
I want to preface this. You know where it's at.
Okay.
And these deer have a lot more timber than most of the deer you're hunting as far as thickness.
So,
but they seem to disappear as soon as that fucking velvet's gone.
Hunting season for that tag for me would start the day I knew I drew the tag and it end the day I killed the deer, which would probably be towards the earlier end of it. Because the longer you wait, the less likely you are to re-find anything. And I don't think it's necessarily a correlation between their antlers being fuzzy and them not wanting to go into thick stuff. I think it correlates with food source changes from weather. So about the same time velvet gets rubbed off, we have our first big frost. You freeze their food a couple times and it's no longer going to be their primary food source. Like as the season changes, the food source changes. So that coincides exactly with them shedding velvet. And I think it has as much to do with deer being harder to find or moving or changing areas. I think it has as much to do with that as actually shedding the velvet. So
there's not a certain time frame from August 30th to December 1st that you would target
as early as you can.
The kill time.
I mean, as early as you can.
So it doesn't matter when you kill it. After September 1st, the rack is going to be what the rack is.
Yeah. I mean, then you might have a little ball up, but they might have a little bit of like extra blood at the tip of the antler where it's not totally formed yet. But the antler itself will be physically the same size. They'll just be adding like extra bone density to it. But it's the size is the size by that point.
Does whether it's in velvet or hard antler, does that have any more allure to you one way or the other?
Velvet.
Really? Because I kind of have this. I kind of have the same feeling. To be honest
it's
with you.
So ugly.
Yeah,
it's so ugly and it stinks and it's like greasy in your hands and it comes off like with anything. So you got to be even careful how you strap it to your backpack. I can't stand velvet.
Really?
Well, basically, all the bucks that I've been around after the 30th of August, you can't hardly keep. I mean, it's in North Idaho. It's fucking hard to keep any velvet, anyways. When do you see? When do you see, like, you've done most of your hunting, Southern Idaho, Central Idaho, I'm assuming. When do you see them mostly? What day do they stripped?
It's anywhere from, like, right at the end of August to about September 10th. But, like, you see some variability in that, too. So, like, last year, there were deer that weren't stripped until the middle of September, but it was also, like, a really delayed growing season.
Because what I always, and I am not a mule deer hunter. I'm not, because I think they're the lesser of the two species. But the hunting them up here and watching them, as soon as, and we're hunting North Idaho thick timber.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as that fucker stripped, they seem to never stay out in the open. And I never really thought about the frost.
Well,
I thought it was always insects, maybe.
It's more than that too. It's more than that too. So like you're really at a transitional time for the deer. So from the time they strip velvet, the most available like protein source available food, the highest quality food sources are now gone. Essentially, the summer feed is the best feed for them to put on body mass. So it's now no longer super beneficial for them to gorge themselves on food if it's just enough to keep them sustained. Well, it's also when their coat changes and they get their thicker fur. So now they're uncomfortably warm if it's hot out. So their activity level goes down dramatically.
When does that happen, the fur?
Right about the same time they strip velvet.
Okay.
So they're getting a thicker coat put on. So it's uncomfortable. They're too warm. So they're going to be less active. The food isn't as good, so it doesn't benefit them as much to gorge on it. Their coat's getting heavier, so they're warmer. They don't want to be out in the sun because they're going to be too hot. So they're going to rest more, and they're going to be basically just hold up on whatever best food they have available in shady places.
So really, that first week of September is really the best choice.
Yeah, if you can find them before that. And the first week is the most likely week. You're going to have the most recent information that week. And then every week after that, it's just a change. And I mean, you're just going from every few week period, you have these little bits of change in their routine and little bits of change in their motivators for why and how they're doing things. And basically, once you get towards maybe October 20th, 25th, then they're going to start thinking about rut. And in some areas of the state, then they have to start thinking about migrating too. So there's just a lot of stuff going on in the fall, the month specifically from beginning of September till like mid to late October. There's a lot of different motivators going on that are driving their behavior. And I don't think it's the huge mystery of big bucks just disappearing that everybody likes to claim it is. It's like there's real things happening around them that they are responding to, and it's not voodoo.
Just watching, like I said, I haven't hunted mule deer a lot, but I'm always hunting elk at that time. And I'll see these bucks the same day, every day in the same general location. And then it seemed like I was telling you, as soon as it hits like the 8th, 9th, 10th of September, then I see them sporadically, and then I don't see them at all. Like September 20th, I don't see them again at all, hardly. So they're
probably still right there. I mean, I think
they're
within a half a mile.
timber, but the problem is I'm looking. Not hunting a lot of stuff you're hunting. I'm hunting fucking clear cuts and open brush fields, and then everything else is fucking hard, big timber. So they're probably are in the timber. They're just not out in the open anymore. So I was telling Jake, I'd like, man, I'd really try to kill one because we're also going to Africa. So we're coming back like the 4th or 3rd.
Yeah.
I said, you're going to have like a week really good right there that I'd go after it hard.
Yeah. So as soon as we get back.
Yeah.
And it's my daughter's tag, so I have to get my daughter where we're going. Right. So that poses another difficulty in the hunt. So what about, do you know anything about peak rut in North Idaho versus central southern Idaho?
I know
How does it change?
The timelines are sometimes a little bit different, and the rut is dictated by the amount of hours of daylight. So it's not a temperature thing, and the rut happens no matter what. Everybody, I mean,
so can you look at a fucking almanac right now and figure out what daylight?
Some herds will be like different week. I mean, it's all going to be happening around the first week of November.
Okay.
And you'll see rut behavior for the whole month, but the overwhelming majority of the breeding is happening right around then.
So that would be the second most opportune week to go out and hunt.
If you want to try to get lucky, like if you don't have something found, but it's not reliable.
What this is piggyback on that. Because I've heard Robbie Dennings, what he says about this. I'd like to hear your side of it. What makes, if that doe probably is not in estrus, what makes that buck kick into readiness, even though that hasn't happened yet? And it's last week, second week, the last week of October.
It's literally dictated by the amount of hours of sunlight.
So it's not smelling anything. They just know something's, their testosterone spooling up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Well, I mean, I guess from my perspective, I do not have the opportunity as a small business owner to go spend fucking 7 weeks of scouting to find my biggest mule deer in Idaho. I don't have that opportunity.
You could put in
like
a
I
hard
said,
4.
I could put in a hard 4 days.
Okay.
So on top of that, what I'm saying, and plus we're just coming back from Africa, all this shit, and plus I have my daughter with me. So hiking super long distance is not going to be an option. Staying out for 6 weeks is not going to be an option. A long-term scout beforehand is not an option.
Okay.
So that's what I'm trying to think about. Like, if I'm going to invest time with my daughter to go do this, then right now I'm feeling like the week after we get back from Africa and then the first week of November.
There is an upside.
Okay.
Very low standards.
Dude, I tell you, hey.
We were talking about this
Yes.
earlier. He's the shallow Hal with mule deer.
Fuck yeah.
They're all pretty.
I said, well, what are you looking for? He's like, very low, very low.
Dude, I mean, I imagine whatever you would consider like a mid-sized deer
Okay.
is a monster for us.
Well,
No,
we're talking
whatever he
Instagram
thinks
standards or real deer.
A small
Hey,
deer.
I'm going to find that deer we saw down at fucking
He's
Salmon.
talking fisheye lens kind of a deer.
Oh.
Dude,
Okay.
I'm going to find a picture of what I would think is a fucking monster in your
Okay.
clap, but I'm going to find the picture. So you guys keep going.
So here's the reality of it, at least in central Idaho, and I think this applies to most places plus or minus 10 inches. Most mature mule deer don't get much bigger than 150. If you find a 150 to 160 inch mule deer, that may be as big as he ever gets, no matter how many years extra you give him. So when you see people dogging on 150 inch deer, like that is probably a deer at his best.
I've shot 2 mule deer, aged, tooth aged. There were 7.5 and 8.5. One was 135 and one was 152.
Mm-hmm.
Old, big bodied deer.
That is a big deer. 150 inch deer is a big deer. I wish people would kind of reestablish their benchmark. Like, okay, 150 is a very respectable mule deer. And like, honestly, most years I'm overjoyed to find a 170 inch deer. I feel like that's an exceptional deer in a general unit.
Monster.
It's honestly probably 140 inch deer. Like just
Monster.
At a quick glance. That is a deer that could be at the peak of his life as big as he ever gets.
He was living on this alfalfa patch on a ranch that we hunt for cow elk
Mm-hmm.
down in Salmon. And we happened to be driving down one of the roads in the ranch, and he was just sitting there in the middle. Dude, he looked at us like his shit didn't stink. And we looked at him like it was the biggest mule deer I've seen, because it was.
Okay.
Literally, that's the biggest mule deer I've ever seen in the wild.
That's a
So
good
to
buck.
me, it's a monster.
Yeah.
And what do you think it is, a 140?
At a quick glance, if that. He doesn't have eye guards. So
Yeah, no.
yeah, maybe 140.
Well, he
That's
showed me
that-
that, and I said,
That's a good deer.
we could
It's a good deer.
We can do-
That's a good deer.
That's right.
we can do better. There's only 60 tags.
There's only 60 tags for
Dude,
this tag, yeah.
There's a guy that we know
I'm going to have to
that you
get with
could
him.
trade. Now, I'm not talking to me. There's another guy we know that you could trade product for scouting.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I know the guy we're talking about. You're
Yeah.
saying it's a different guy?
No, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't want to put him on the spot. 'Cause
Yeah.
He's trying to slow down on that side. But
Yeah.
I think I know exactly who you're talking about too.
And he already told me, he goes, oh, I know where a deer is.
If that's
Really?
the guy I think it is, he
Yeah.
knows where deer are everywhere.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I
and
might have to go that
he's-
route for this
he's
tag.
scouting right. I just talked to him. He's scouting right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. I call that guy for advice.
Yeah, for sure. Well, generally, he gives us advice, and I try, like, we're loading him some ammo right now.
Yeah, but I
Yeah.
don't want to say the unit or where he'd be,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's the guy.
Yeah.
Are you only hunting Idaho?
I'm going to Alaska for moose.
Oh,
Nice.
And then I have one other out of state hunt.
What's the whole, we're really interested in Alaska shit lately. What's the
Dude.
whole plan?
The whole plan is I hit the absolute neighbor lottery. So
Wow.
I had a next door neighbor move in at the beginning of November last year, and his wife moved in first, and I went and talked to her, and she's like, "Oh, my husband's hunting." I'm like, "Well, that can mean a lot of different." I'm thinking this dialogue in my head that can mean a lot of different things. It could be a guy who wants to bore me for 20 minutes about the one time he saw a cow elk 7 years ago,
Mhm.
or he could be like me, on the other end of this. There's a spectrum. There's a
me
spectrum.
and my wife have this conversation all the time. So and so hunts. I was like, well, does he hunt? Or
Yeah,
does he
like,
No, it's
Please.
I always say, but does he kill shit?
please
That's the-
define that.
Yeah.
And she happened to mention, he's in the Frank Church hunting right now. I'm like, this guy might be pretty cool. And she told me he was flown in. He was going to be in there for a couple weeks. Well, 4 days later, I see a guy pull into the house. I'm like, go over there and visit with him. Start talking with him, and I'm like, "Hey, did you tag out?" He's like, "Oh no, the weather wasn't right, so we ended up coming out." I'm thinking in my head, this chicken shit loser came out because the weather wasn't right. Like, you were flown in. And I mentioned something to him because I'm like, that's kind of lame. And he's like, "Oh no, I got my own airplane." I'll fly back in when the weather gets better. I'm like, oh shit, I got a cool neighbor.
Hell yeah.
We're visiting for a while, and I'm looking over, and he's got Alaska plates on his truck. I'm like, oh, I thought you guys are from Washington. He's like, oh, well, we had a house in Washington. I'm actually an Alaska resident. And I'm like, oh, really? I'm like, you do
pilot, plane, Alaska resident.
You do any hunting up there? He's like, oh yeah, we hunt a lot up there. Between me and my brother, we helped kill 14 moose last year.
Oh,
And I'm just like, Jesus, do you just spend the whole fall packing moose? He's like, I didn't pack any of them. I'm like, please explain.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I got an airboat and it's got a crane on the front of it. So we'll kill the moose and then I've just run the airboat up to him. We load them whole.
What?
He's like, my brother's got one too. So we'll team up with airboats and we go out and we
That's
help all our neighbors
insane.
kill moose. Guys, if you're over 65, you can if you're Alaska resident, you can sign your tag over to another Alaska resident to harvest your moose.
Uh-huh.
So he's out there just waylaying moose for his neighbors.
that's fantastic.
Dude.
And then he takes a bunch of friends out.
Hey, airboat, new goal.
Airboat's the way to hunt moose in
Oh.
Alaska. Yeah.
We'll have to figure out how he did it after he
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll come back on after
so
your
I'm
hunt
like-
so you can tell the story.
So I'm like, man, that's freaking incredible. He's like, yeah, you want to go? Yes. Yes, I do. I will.
Did you guys?
What time do I want to buy the
hey,
ticket for?
Hey, did you guys dock right then?
Oh
Did you-
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, so like I committed
Right then.
instantly, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be the best neighbor this guy has ever had
There
in
you
his
go.
life.
Hey, you
So-
need to. I'm gonna mow that side of your lawn every time.
Dude, so like we had a pretty good winter for southern Idaho last year. We ended up getting quite a bit of snow. So I called him one day. I'm like, hey man, I don't want to be rude, but I got a side by side with a snow plow on it. You cool if I plow your driveway out? Because it snowed like 10 inches or whatever. And
Yeah.
I do a bunch of the driveways for my neighbors. I had a neighbor lady actually complain about me plowing her sidewalk for her.
No shit.
I guess she liked plowing. It's like, okay, whatever. And I was just trying to be helpful or whatever. So it's like now I just ask. Everybody's usually really happy to have their snow plowed for them.
No
Good
shit.
Lord.
So his response was, yeah, and when you get done, you can come in and fold my laundry, and then we want some rooms repainted too. Okay, we're gonna get along good. So anytime a fucking flake of snow hit his driveway, I was plowing that shit.
Nice.
It was funny.
Smart man.
So he's actually a commercial fisherman, and he was gone a lot this winter. So one day I had just finished plowing his driveway. I'm out in my driveway, pulling my daughter around on a sled, and I see the garage door come up, and his wife's got a snow shovel in her hand, and she's all geared up, like got full on snow bibs, full outfit. She opens the garage door, and she
It's
just
already
has this
done.
confused look on her face because I just plowed the thing.
That's awesome.
Nice.
But, yeah, I hit the neighbor jackpot.
Hell
Oh,
yeah, it sounds
yeah.
like it.
Nice.
So-
yeah, definitely come back on and tell the story. We've been interested in going and trying to do a moose thing or
I
caribou or
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know airboats were a thing in Alaska,
I didn't until right now.
but you could take them everywhere.
I thought that was like a Georgia swamp type of situation.
I did too. It was
yeah,
funny.
Louisiana bayou.
So I can't hunt the unit they hunt because I'm a non-resident. So we were researching other stuff. He's like, "Hey, I got this area that looks good," because he's flying around up there, and looking at stuff. He's like, "I found a bunch of moose in this spot, but I don't know if we can hunt it. I'm having a hard time figuring out who the land managing agency is for this." He's like, "If you could research this, that would help." So I figured out who it is for this certain like wilderness area, and he's like, "I want to find the travel restrictions, see if we can use the airboat."
Mm-hmm.
And I finally get a hold of a lady, and she tells me where to look it up. I'm like, "I want you to send me a link to where I can see this on a website. I want like everything in writing, just cross your T's, dot your I's type
Yeah.
shit." So I sent him a screenshot of the like travel restrictions for the area, and we find out the airboat's legal. And his response, like, I give him all my homework that he gave me, and like, here's the report, and he just responded with, "Oh, it's gonna be a bloodbath." I'm like, that is exactly what I wanted to hear.
In your mind, do you have like what you're looking for?
So he's flying his airplane around there all the time, and he says he doesn't even go after a moose unless it's 65 plus.
Oh yes.
That's I'm like I was asking him questions about how to make sure it's legal. He's like, it's not going to be a problem.
Mm.
That
So,
is
yeah.
freaking awesome.
Is
Yeah.
that 65 inches like
Fucking
wide?
huge.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
wide? So five
Outside-
and a half
outside.
feet.
Yeah.
Holy.
Fucking monster.
Yeah.
Oof.
Mm.
So,
So then you have to come back and hunt the lonely mule deer.
oh man, I'm excited about that too, though.
Mm.
I've shot a moose. I've been on a few moose kills, and they're cool. I do want to shoot it, Alaskan Yukon, but I'd still rather shoot an elk.
That your moose was the one you shot at like 2 zip codes away, wasn't it?
Yep. I'd hunted for a month, and my wife basically said, this is this is it. Because I was actually working multiple jobs. And she's like, dude, you've been gone for a month. Kill an elk or kill a moose. So it was the only one I saw, and it was 1,775 yards away.
Jesus.
Died next to a road though, right?
Died on the road.
Died on the road. Yeah.
My buddy with tracks,
Yeah.
like jet boat or airboat. We had tracks and we rode right to it. That's what impressed me about tracks. We drug that moose out uphill.
Nice.
Like, holy shit.
They're really good till they come off.
Well, until they snap or you snap an axle.
Yeah, they break a lot of stuff.
They do break a lot of axles. But yeah. But moose are cool. I would say go get your fill and you'll be back to there in no time.
Yeah, forms. I'm pretty much convinced I'm going to use the 22 Creed that you guys just built me, but he's talking me into using the 22 Creed on it. I'm thinking like, that'd be pretty cool to shoot a big old Alaska moose with 22 Creed more.
Oh no.
You gonna video it?
I'll try to.
Yeah. Dude, it's gonna work.
What bullet?
88 ELDM.
It'll work.
Yeah. The dude, I was so proud of you for giving the Hornady people the right name for their bullet.
Murder bullet.
The ELD murder.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I tell people all the time that came from you, not me, but people keep connecting me to it. I was like, no.
I actually stole it from my buddy Zach, so I can't steal.
Yeah.
I can't.
That
take
was
too much
Dioni that
credit
told
for
me.
it.
I don't like to take people's credit, but it'll work.
Yeah.
I don't have any doubts it'll work. I don't give a
Well,
shit if it's frontal, side.
And after doing the shooting school, I can shoot some bullets real fast now.
oh, there's one.
There'll be 3 mid-flight.
Like, double tap seems like it's underdoing it at this point.
Uh-huh.
All right, well, getting into that. So you went to the Shoot Hunt University, the 0 to 600.
Mhm.
Give us your feedback.
I feel like I got away with doing a lot of shit wrong for a long time. And I had as a guy who's probably, I felt like I was pretty proficient. Like comparatively, you put me into a group of most hunters and I felt like I would, stand well with that group regardless of who it was. I didn't realize how much shit I had no idea how wrong I was doing it. Like just the fundamentals of all of the little things that I didn't know what I was doing was embarrassing.
Mm.
I got away with a lot because situationally, like I would find a deer and I was never in a rush to shoot him. I'd set up a camera, I'd dig a hole out in the hillside, I'd make a nice flat spot to shoot from. I would dry fire on the animal 15 times till the crosshairs didn't move. And I could get away with a lot under those circumstances. But I feel like outside of my little world that I created for myself in my killing scenario, I probably wouldn't have been very effective.
You are the same as me in that aspect. I grew up, all of my hunting was ambush hunting of some sort, dry firing. Basically all the cards were stacked in my favor.
Oh yeah.
And so Inform said, "Oh, you got to try this." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll try it." Thinking, will this be another thing? I'm going to ace this shit.
Yeah.
And I get out there and I look like a complete clusterfuck.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, well, you get me off the ground and I fucking suck. And this basically broke me down for 4 days. I've been through it a few times now, but as a whole, it makes you a more well-rounded marksman.
Now I don't have to have that set up. I still want to afford myself every opportunity to take as much time as I can and be as prepared as I can. And I don't think it's a bad idea if you can dry fire on an animal multiple times and get calm and dig out a flat spot in the hill. Like that's never a bad idea if you have it, but it's nice to not need it because it's not always there.
Well, and you're an analytical, you think things out. What did we suck at? There's something we sucked at. The whole shooting thing, food, lodging, shooting.
The food was ridiculously good.
Yeah, I knew
You
that.
definitely didn't suck at
What would you say?
The lodging was really nice. I was in the friends and family group and there was a lot of people.
Yeah.
So that it went a bit slow, but it sounded like it was way the hell faster the next week for
faster
the paid people, which I'm not complaining. That's just I got invited to do the thing. I was so grateful for the opportunity. Honestly, man, that's about the only. Oh, I got one. Make that guy get up earlier and not keep me up till 1 at night.
Yeah,
You got to say it to the microphone.
Make Form get up earlier in the morning.
Yeah. He did actually get up a little bit earlier the next week.
He did
A little bit.
Like the whole week they were shooting by 9:30.
My body wakes up between 5 and 6 every day, regardless of what the alarm clock does.
Mm-hmm.
So
Nick said he was sitting down on his little chair for so long that the landowner came by and said, "Do you want to go shoot some fucking groundhogs?"
Dude, he
Some
took up
prairie
groundhog
dogs.
hunting before
prairie
the
dogs,
school
yeah.
started one day.
Oh, geez.
Bunch of prairie dogs. Yeah, so earlier.
Yeah.
And I guess, on the flip side, I'm not a morning person either, but then it wouldn't go till midnight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think there is, as dumb as it seemed, I do think there is a little bit of method to Form's madness for keeping you up till you're really late and then keeping you up till you're really tired and then having you go straight to bed afterwards. Cause I do think the retention's better of the information, but I think that could happen at 11 more than the same as it does at midnight or 1.
The biggest feedback that I got was I really didn't think that we would shoot 1,000 rounds.
Yeah. We shot a lot.
Yeah. That's probably the average we went through is about 1,000 rounds.
I went Boy Scout on some of it too, and I shot a little bit extra on everything.
Oh, I would look over and Dioni would have like 3 mags set up.
No.
And he 10 round mags just that poor 6.5 PRC was getting worked.
Oh, the PRC got ran hard and the 223 got ran really hard. At one point, I remember looking back, I was getting so much mirage off the barrel. I look back at Form, I'm like, you got any cool ways to cool these down? And he threw me a water bottle. He just poured it over the barrel. It was steam pouring off of it. Yeah, I was running it.
Nice.
So I'm guessing you would recommend it.
Yeah, no, it was good.
Fantastic.
It was definitely good.
Yeah.
The food was stupid good.
We
I was really surprised. I was not expecting that.
Enhance your shooting experience with STOCKY'S stocks. Are you tired of struggling with mediocre rifle stocks that hinder your performance? Imagine having a high-quality rifle stock that not only enhances your accuracy, but also provides superior strength in a lightweight build. STOCKY'S stocks offers a wide range of premium rifle stocks manufactured with hand layup carbon fiber construction, a patented carbon fiber AccuBlock, and multiple finish options. Whether you're a long-range shooter or a hunting enthusiast, our stocks are perfect for you. Experienced unmatched precision and durability with STOCKY'S stocks. We provide stock installation instructions, technical support, and guidance to help you choose the right stock for your rifle. Upgrade your shooting game today with STOCKY'S stocks.
Myself and my buddy Ward, we stopped at a grocery store in town because we didn't we knew there was going to be some food, but it's like I don't know, they're doing dinners. Do we need to have lunches? So we didn't eat a goddamn thing that we brought. The food was so good.
I've been to multiple shooting schools and I've had bad food, and it can, even if you have good training, it can still be like a turnoff. So we all decided we have got to have fantastic food.
Yeah. The training was legit and the food was just like it didn't even make sense.
Yeah.
It didn't even make sense.
She'd come out every day or every other day to refresh everything and bring the new stuff, and she did a phenomenal job.
Oh, and it was weird because it seemed like she was really worried about making sure everybody was happy with it. And I'm like, this is like the best stuff I've ever ate. Like, why are you worried?
Like my wife stayed the second week solely so she could eat more of the food. She did. She's like, I fucking say, I'll shoot, I'll cherry pick my shots, get in there and work on some stuff, but I'm here for the food because Camille can cook.
Yeah. No, and the place was legit too. Like, the location was cool. It was insanely windy, which was beneficial for the class, I think. Like, actually seeing the guns, Foreman and I are kind of friends at this point, but like to demonstrate things, he actually threw a fistful of dirt into my action and had me run the gun. And then he did the same thing on another action to prove that, like, hey, this gun will work with dirt in it. This gun won't. And legitimately, my gun worked. The trigger got super hard. Like it was legitimately probably a 10-pound trigger pull. But every time I pulled the trigger, the gun went off.
Did that trigger the OCD a little bit?
I wasn't too worried. It's a tool for me. Like, I wasn't too worried about it. Everybody else, I think, was more surprised than I was. I did a pistol class with Form, and he was, we were joking around, but he was telling me, like, tell me a command to do with the gun. And somebody told him to throw a staccato on the ground. He literally just chucked it. So it's like, okay, I'm not surprised at all. Like, he does that with his guns. He's gonna do that with mine. So I wasn't upset. And then right afterwards, he did it with a Remington 700 base custom, and it stopped working. The trigger quit in his gun, but it didn't quit in mine. So it's like he's all about proving everything like with evidence. Like here's the actual functional reason why I say what I say, and I can prove it. And he's got a method to his madness.
I do appreciate about him is he's not afraid to shoot in front of people.
Mhm.
The bear, did you guys shoot at the bear? I don't know if we got to that. At the second class, they're like, I think it was the second class. He's like, nobody's hitting the bear.
I hit the bear, but I didn't hit it inside the right paint spot.
Right. It had to be it had to be his size bear, which are mini bears.
Yeah.
So they got down and it's like, nobody get this bear. So he got down with a fucking 308, which I hate 308s, which you guys fucking got me to shoot.
We tricked you into shooting a 308.
And he fucking he's not afraid to demonstrate
that you can hit the bear.
Absolutely. And he'll get down and he'll shoot the things and he'll shoot the targets and you're like, oh, well, he can do what he's saying.
Here's one of the things that was the most dramatic to me that I saw over the course of the week with a bunch of other shooters shooting mostly 223s. And I thought I was going to game part of it, shooting a hot rodded 6.5 PRC, launching 147s at close to 3,100. It didn't make my hit rate much better. Like I thought I was cheating as much as I could cheat the wind and like ballistics and all that stuff. Like I thought I was gaming it. And when it come to actually hitting stuff, it didn't make me hit more.
I didn't see all
it was a little bit of a benefit, but nowhere near what I thought it was.
I thought that too, and I didn't see as much as yours, but I thought Ward with the 22 Creed.
Yeah, that thing is actually cheating.
It is cheating, but it still had it still showed you the scenarios where that shit still fails.
Yeah.
And the 223s don't necessarily fail. Like you're not handicapped that much.
You really aren't handicapped that much by a gun with what would seem like inferior ballistics. Although if there was a cheat code for it, it's a stupid fast 22 cal or 6 mil. Like for actually shootability and what your likelihood is of hitting that target. Like the ballistics don't matter as much as you like to think they do. The guns are just easier to shoot.
They got to be stupid side. Like if you look, it's the WES tells you, if you look at the 22 Creed or the 6 UM, they are giving you big Magnum performance and way less recoil.
Yeah.
It's just fact.
What's your Instagram handle?
Wild-Idaho.
Wild_Idaho.
Okay, so recently you did the scope drop test and you were
I've dropped me some Mavens.
Dude, so this to me that stirred
Maven
up.
shared it. I was proud of them.
It did. Well, it stirred some shit to me, like reading comments and things like that, right? Like so people
There was a guy who said it was not ethical to drop my gun.
Exactly.
And I'm like, what kind of fucking dildo doesn't think it's ethical to test your equipment? So it's more ethical to have a shitty scope that doesn't work and go out and just maim stuff?
So that's the point I was going to bring up is there's some let's say there's some high level shooters around in the Instagram world that laugh at the whole scope drop test.
Yeah.
And to me, there are people like the guy you're talking about. They don't want to know their scope is going to fail.
Yeah.
They don't want to know their rifle's going to fail. They just want to believe that because they spent whatever amount of money on it, that it's just going to work all the time.
Yeah.
And this goes back to the training, but also kind of, I think you're a lot like Foreman that way. You like to demonstrate things and see how things actually
Prove
work
it
or
to
fail.
me.
Prove it to me, right?
Yeah, prove it to me.
And you're so involved in your hunting world that you want to know, like you said, dry fire 10 times on the deer. If I saw a big ass deer like your kind of deer standing in front, I wouldn't be able to dry fire 10 times.
Well, here's the difference though. I've seen that deer 10 times over the summer.
Yeah.
I know that if the situation's not right today,
Yeah.
I'm gonna kill him tomorrow.
So pretend like in seat 4 here, there's one of those fuds that spent however much money on a Vortex Razor Gen 3 and they got it up on top of their hunting rifle and they don't want to know if it's going to hold 0.9. I mean, what are they doing to that? How are they, handicapping themselves? Or what would you say to those people out there that don't believe in drop testing your rifle?
I mean, do you not believe that the world's round because you can't see the curve?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, it's real easy to test for yourself. Like, go get a very soft padded cushion, a very large soft padded cushion.
Mm-hmm.
Drop that gun a few times and see if it moved.
Yeah.
But the sad reality is that guy probably also doesn't even have a good 0.
True. Very true.
Like your shit's so wrong that you can't tell what right is.
Yeah.
I talked to a really good, pretty dang good competitive shooter today, and we were talking about the drop test, and he was a non-believer before. He's like, what clicked me into it? He goes, I go around to these shoots, and he goes, I took a drop test scope, and I did my testing and found this particular scope did hold 0, and Rockside confirmed to hold 0. He said, when I go to the range, and he goes, I'm talking about some other high-level shooters. I shoot the 900-yard target, I shoot the 1,200 yard target. He goes, and I'm done zeroing. These guys are out there zeroing for 2 and 3 fucking hours.
Yep.
Because they get to a particular shoot and their gun's not zeroed. He goes, mine is.
Yep.
Mine's zeroed just like it was at home.
Yep.
I don't see why they're not catching on to that unless they don't want to, or they're paid not to be.
Yeah.
They're not paid. They're paid not to see it.
Well, the frustrating thing is that it's such an easy thing to prove one way or the other.
Yep.
It's not hard to prove. It's not hard to make sure your zero is actually right. It's not hard to make sure your scope holds 0. Everybody has the equipment they need to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what the reluctance is.
So if you guys haven't seen a drop test in action, we do have a video we've been working on for a damn long time now.
Well,
But
we have-
basically,
I got 2
fucking
videos
loot.
of throwing guns on the ground if you want to
Jump-
check my Instagram.
jump on Dioni's Instagram there, and he filmed it, and he did a very good job demonstrating exactly what it goes through during the test. And yeah,
Dioni actually went above and beyond in the drop test. It's even more than we actually do on Rock Slide.
Yeah.
Because your fucking ground was
It's hard as
Yeah.
shit. That gun
Yeah.
bounces.
yeah,
That gun. Well, what's bad? I did a 9 drop test right before that, and I didn't I had the camera set up wrong because I'm literally just taking my phone's not phone scope, the all-in adapter, whatever, and then I'm like flicking my screen to where it does the selfie camera, and then I turn my spotting scope around, and that's my phone holder tripod. So,
Yeah.
but I had it set up to where like you couldn't see the gun actually hit the ground. I'm like, well, that's shitty. And I shot it, and it didn't hit the center of the center like the one I posted did, but it hit the bottom, like cut the line on the
Yeah.
dot. And that one was nasty. The gun bounced hard.
Mhm.
Like it bounced back up to like knee height from a waist height drop. And I'm like, I cringed when I did it.
Friggin' Form text me. He's like, did you see that drop? Did you see the bounce
It
on
was
that
way
drop?
worse on the first one, but you couldn't see the gun hit the ground. I'm like, that's not good enough. There's a bunch of naysayers out there going to talk shit if they can't see the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Yeah.
So it's like, I want all of the carnage to be visible.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot less weird shit that happens when all your stuff works.
Yeah.
So
Like-
to add on to your story, we were up shooting at the school,
Yeah.
and Form a rock fell that he was standing on, and he had the 308 wooden gun, the Western
The
or
2x4 gun.
the Montana Rifle Company gun,
Okay.
and he had that Maven on it, and it fell. It fell. He dropped
There's
it.
a couple more cubes in there if you want.
He fucking bent the fucking front of it in
Mm.
and went and checked zero, still zeroed.
No shit.
But it goes back to this. People say, why do you do it? Well, I don't know. I guess I'm the clumsiest hunter in the world. I fall on my gun. I knock my gun over. My gun rides around in a truck that fucking gets bounced around on a
Truck,
bunch
a
of
horse, a
washboard
side
board,
by side, a quad.
goats, quads.
Mm.
I want to eliminate every variable I have because I don't know if people know this, but public land hunting is not getting easier. So when I get that shot of a lifetime, I want to know that fucker zeroed.
Mhm.
My whole thing behind it is I put way too goddamn much into every one of the deer I kill. You almost can't even claim skill on it. It's embarrassing how many hours I put into killing one deer.
Mhm.
I put more hours into killing the buck I killed last year than most people will into the next 10 hunting season.
Mhm.
I'm not going to fuck that up for anything.
Mhm.
I have a question about that. Did you drop test your bow?
I've dropped it
That's
before.
funny.
But those things are fragile and you got to be
No,
careful.
hey, more importantly, did you dry fire it first?
Yeah.
There we go.
Did you
Yeah.
Jake test it?
I have it on video. I drew on that buck 5 or 6 times.
Okay.
Ward was across the canyon filming me. Every time I'd stand up and I didn't have a shot while he was bedded.
Uh-huh.
So this is some crazy shit. I was above that buck for 3 hours, and the whole time I'm thinking how can I make my situation better? I literally climbed out of the rock I was sitting in above that buck and grabbed other rocks to stack down to make flat footing. So I had a flat, stable place to stand up to shoot from.
Uh-huh.
So you also dig your shooting spots, but you also build
Dude,
up your
Yeah, I built a shooting position for archery shots too.
a platform.
I was as Form likes to say, gaming every bit of it. So I built a flat, stable standing position to shoot from. I took my quiver off because it was pretty windy. I laid arrows out in front of me. I was ready to get Western on that
So
buck.
you could say you were stacking the odds in your favor.
I was stacking the odds in my favor. And while that buck was bedded and I could just see half of his body, I would stand up and draw my bow.
How
and
far
aim
were
at
you?
him. 82 yards. I bought the bow 2 weeks before I killed him.
You shot the deer at 82 yards?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And it was Robbie that said, "Why don't you just bow hunt it?"
Yeah, it was Robbie that talked me into bow hunting it. But like I said, I drew on that buck 5 or 6 times because I'm like, I don't want the first time I shoot at this buck to be the first time I've looked at him through a peep and a sight.
Yeah.
Because I know from experience, every time I put crosshairs on a big buck and I dry fire on him, I get a little bit less nervous.
Hold on. So 82, some people might say that 82 yards, is borderline.
It's like 800 yards.
Is borderline. Let's call it an 800-yard fucking rifle shot from a guy. And you're telling everybody you just bought this bow 2 weeks earlier. I mean, how practiced, I know how you are, but how practiced were you before that moment?
So I shot 2 or 3 times every single day leading up to that. And
did you make your own arrows and all that shit?
Yeah, all my shit was dialed in.
Yeah.
My cousin, who's pretty much the reason I got serious into hunting, that like helped me get started in all of this, like 2009-ish, he was a professional competitive archer. And I started as a bow hunter, and I used to shoot the ever-living shit out of a bow.
Okay, so you were a bow hunter at one time.
And I would shoot competitively. I'd shoot leagues. I'd go to 5 archery, like 3D shoots a year. Like I shot leagues every single week for 3 or 4 years. Like I could shoot a bow. So it wasn't like I just got into bow hunting. I knew how to shoot a bow. I have really, really good form. The muscle memory is still there. Like I'm definitely not as good as I used to be.
Okay.
But I shot, like I said, 3 times a day, every single day. For
You
the 2 weeks
weren't a
leading up
2-week
to it.
beginner at that point.
And the last arrows out of that bow, I shot a 2-arrow group at 70 yards, and the arrows were touching with my broadheads. So it's like, and the shoot to like the corrected distance for the angle was 69 yards. So it's like, and that was as far as I had pins to. So it's like, I know my shit is right at that distance. And the last time I shot, not really that distance, but that corrected distance, like the arrows were touching. So it's like, if I feel calm, I know I'm capable of making the shot. And the one thing I've got from shooting a lot of big deer is a pretty good nerve for shooting big deer. Like when I shoot at an animal, it's as good as I can shoot when I'm not shooting an animal, which is the thing a lot of people struggle with. Like a lot of people fall apart when it comes to that last critical moment. But I know I can build my situation to where I can be calm in that situation.
You were just on the front of a magazine too. What magazine was that?
Western Hunter magazine.
And how big was that deer?
So when I scored him that night with 3 other people there, I got 216.5, but he broke a tine off when he fell. He chipped another tine, and I scored a tine that was almost an inch and a half, but technically not scoreable. His actual official Boone and Crockett score with the velvet stripped after the drying period was 204 and something.
Okay.
Like official scorer scored him. I think if he hadn't have broke and fallen off, he'd have been like 208-ish.
And where does that fall in the book there?
Big as shit for archery. There's a lot bigger bucks
Is
for
that
rifle.
the official category?
What's that?
Big as shit for archery?
I don't know. The whole separate scoring system for archery feels like a fucking consolation prize to me. I think it's stupid. I think Boone and Crockett's the official scoring body.
I would agree.
I think if it doesn't score official Boone and Crockett net, then it's not. I mean, it's still a huge buck. I'm not taking anything away from any buck that scores over 200 inches, but like non-typical awards is 215 for Boone and Crockett. So
it had to be the biggest deer or one of the top 2 in the state last year.
I don't know of any bigger deer killed in Idaho last year.
I was asking Jim because it
was a tough year.
He's like, I'm pretty sure Dioni's was the biggest deer shot in Idaho.
Yeah.
That's
for sure with the bow.
Badass.
Yeah.
That is so badass. Speaking of killing big deer, we should probably talk a little bit about your online subscription you're going to maybe do for us.
We're thinking about doing a thing. It's kind of like OnlyFans.
It's going to involve feet.
It's a lot of feet.
Well, What is the deal with the feet obsession, guys? Does that
I
do
don't have
anything
it.
for you?
I don't have
get
it.
I don't have it either,
I don't
so
have
I don't fucking
I
get
think
it.
feet are kind of gross myself.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And that's what
Dioni was
that's what the
quiet.
foot look. Hey, when the foot looks good, it's still gross. So I don't even know. There are some
A
gross
foot's a
fucking
foot.
feet out there.
I don't want to see them even if they are good looking.
Yeah.
I say this that I have never looked at this stuff, but I hear stuff. The dudes pay more for chicks with hairy feet.
No shit.
Yeah.
Fuck, I got hairy feet. Let's get
Man,
on it.
yeah, I'm on that plan
Let's do it.
too.
Pretend you're a
Motherfucker,
chick.
motherfucker,
Pretend
you
you're a
have
chick.
hobbit. Hey, you have hobbit feet.
I know, but it's gotta be
let's
chick.
put those.
Chicks
We'll just say you're a chick.
with hairy.
How the fuck do they know it's a foot?
Yes, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
They also fucking are farting in jars and shipping those.
Dude,
things.
I can get down with
Lord.
the part. You can make some money that way.
Good Lord. Like, how do you know it's a chick's fart when it shows up, right? Like,
How do you know there's
how do you
anything
know the
in there?
donor? Yeah.
She just says her farts don't stink and hands you a jar with nothing in.
Yeah. Good Lord. That's what I'm saying. Hey, how do they know it's a woman's foot? If they want hairy feet, if they pay more for hairy feet, I'm in.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
Oh Jesus,
We'll have to bring some
Yeah.
cameras
that
home.
went downhill quick.
so Dioni, you're gonna have this class.
Yeah, so I'm working with the shoot to hunt guys, and I'm going to more than just tell people things to look for. I'm going to explain a process for how to find areas and ways to be as effective as you can be. Because it's not just like here's the methods I use, because the methods I use don't work for everybody else. Because a big part of where the best place to hunt is where you live.
Mm.
And you want to have as much access to the deer you hunt as you possibly can. And there's value that is not proportionally placed to what's the best place I can hunt, not necessarily the best place everybody can hunt regionally. I mean, it's not a one-to-one. Like the best unit in the country that's not close to you, that you can't hunt every decade, is not the best unit. The best unit you can hunt is the closest one to your house that produces reasonably good mule deer.
Mm.
That's the place you're going to be most effective.
What did you say the best tag in the state was earlier?
The best tag for me is a general Idaho deer tag. That is the best tag in the state as far as I'm concerned.
But so we're gonna have the online shooting school that he just talked about with Form. We're gonna have Jake's reloading class. We're gonna have Dioni and Mooch and Staggy, the one and only, his mule deer class. I'm pretty sure I got Robbie into hooking doing his, because the thing is you know this, Robbie hunts 1,000% different than you, in my opinion.
Oh, well, honestly, he hunts a lot the same. Like there's a lot different, but a lot the same. And I look at it and from the outside looking in, it would look a lot different. But I think if you put me in his situation, I would be doing things the way he does it, because he lives in a different place.
Right.
He hunts different units.
He hunts different with his livestock.
He has different,
Yeah.
and that's part of it too. Like part of the formula is, what resources do you have? I mean, can you ride a dirt bike? Do you have horses? Are you in good shape? Are you in bad shape? Like all of these things are critically important deciding factors in where and how you should hunt. Like, do you have a boat? There's a lot of great places that you can drive across a lake and be all by yourself. Like it's not necessarily this is how I hunt, this is how you should hunt. It's here's how I look at things. Here's the lens I look at opportunities through. And here's the different filters I apply to these different opportunities. Cause like there's some opportunities that I'm not willing to invest the time, energy, and resources into. And there's other opportunities that I am. So and I was talking with Luke about this when we were talking about how to build out this program and the curriculum. It's like you are creating I can't remember the term he used for it. It sounded way smarter than what I'm about to say, but basically
don't ever say that about Luke.
he's good at some stuff and he's hilarious.
He is good at some
He's a super good dude.
Yeah.
Basically you need to create a filter for each and every hunt that you apply. Like, this is the reasoning and logic that I'm going to apply to this hunt. And this is going to affect like how I value certain opportunities. It's not everything is not at face value. Like there's a lot of great resources out there. Like Epic's phenomenal. They have a lot of great information, but the unit they say is the best may not be the best for you. It may be the best for them with their lifestyle and how they go about things and their access to the area. But you need to understand how to value certain opportunities. And I see so many people squandering things. Like I know so many guys that are waiting for this this draw tag before they really figure out how to hunt. Like they're waiting for this draw opportunity before they take a couple weeks off in the summer to go scouting. And the sad reality is that, yeah, that unit might be marginally better than a general unit they have access to every year. But the reality of it is that if they put that much time, energy, and effort and resources into the general unit for 2 or 3 years, the opportunity in that general unit is probably better than that draw unit. Like the likelihood of them killing a big buck is much, much, much greater in a general unit most times than it is in that draw unit you may never get. And they spend their whole window of opportunity. Like there's a window of opportunity where you are able enough and financially able enough to execute on these things. And they will waste their time waiting for something to happen and then not be good enough to make good on that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, call and ask you by accident. I talk hunting pretty much every day, just like you do, just like Jake does. And I don't, outside of Robbie, your strategy, your thought process, your meticulous brain, I know there's not a lot of people like you. I don't mean that good or bad, but the way your thought process is unique. Docking. Yeah.
Wieners.
Like the moose. No, it's true. It's like, there's lots of people. I would say I would throw you and Robbie in like Jim, and Jim is focused on his kids more now. So he's not, out there slamming deer like he could be, but the meticulous side of you guys, it's like almost autistic.
Yeah. And Robbie talks about it a lot. Travis Hobbs, who is
Hobbs,
he's
too.
another one of those guys that I look at. It's like, that guy knows the shit out of how to find and kill big deer.
Yep.
But every one of us is so ADHD.
They are. It's like these mule deer guys are like cultish, autistic.
We all
fucking
use
people.
straight spotting scopes.
You're all straight.
We're all weird. We're all weird.
You might dock, but you're still straight.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's so much more to it than just the this is how I do it like me. And like you can see it with some of these guys. It's really obvious for somebody who kind of knows how some of it works. It's like, man, there is a different way of operating that some of these guys do. The guys that are finding and killing big bucks consistently in units that nobody thinks there should be big bucks, they are doing something different.
Do you worry? Forum's worried about this, so I'll bring it up. Do you worry about giving up your secrets?
The sad reality is that with all of the information in the world and somebody laying everything out, most people
are still going to buy Vortex.
They still aren't going to do the work. There's like I was telling, I don't remember if it was on the podcast or not when we were talking earlier, and it's like it's embarrassing how many days I spend being unsuccessful to kill one deer. Like the sad reality is that most people still won't do the work. Like,
yeah,
I hope that people will benefit greatly from the information that I'm going to share with them. I hope that people feel like it's worthwhile. Like the thing I was most concerned with when you approached me about this is that, can I produce something that's going to be worth somebody's hard-earned money to buy? And I hope that people make good on it. But the sad reality is that most guys probably still won't do the things they have to do to be impacting me, at least. Mm-hmm. I hope everybody that gets it's going to find something that is absolutely making it worthwhile and increases their odds of success.
Yeah.
I think the odds of somebody being a fucking weird son of a bitch like me and doing everything I do to the point where it screws up a hunt for me is pretty low.
It's funny you say, well, I spent a lot, because Robbie explains that if you look at me as per day spent to kill this deer, I'm a fucking terrible hunter. I think it's funny how you guys say that, but also that's what makes you kill the big deer in the end.
Yeah. I like to think I can consistently produce a buck that most people would be like overjoyed with in the best draw unit in the state of Idaho. I want to do that every single year in a general unit.
Well, that's easy for Jake.
Yeah.
140, baby. 140.
I think the sad reality is that, like, I know so many guys that have every skill and ability I have that don't kill the deer I do. I know so many guys who I am not good at a lot of the parts of this. Like, as I learned a couple weeks ago and have said for years, I'm not the best shooter. I don't have the best vision. I'm not that great at glassing. I'll sit down with, you know, I take a lot of other people hunting and have a lot of people that I try and help coach along. And most of them see as many or more deer than I do. It's just, I'm going to be out there the whole goddamn day, every day. And I'm going to do it 10 times more than them through the summer. But like, there's so many people that have every skill and ability that I have and don't get the results I do.
What do you think most of them settle?
I think it's a lot of settling, and I think it's a lot of people who don't have whatever weird thing it is in my brain that don't let me quit.
Is what we talk about. There's a lot of hunters that want to go out and hunt, but they don't actually want to kill something.
Yeah,
so same guys that don't actually want to drop test or whatever their rifle. They don't want to know their rifle's not going to shoot. They just want to. They just want to go out there with the rifle.
And I do think, in my opinion, and I'll say this as an elk hunter, I think it's easier to find a decent bull because just their size, their herd, to kill than a deer. And I see people like settle on elk, and I'm like, dude, why are you doing that? So I imagine it's also more so with deer.
And so much of my success is predicated off of past success. It's like I've been in enough situations where the odds are stacked against me, and it doesn't look like the likely outcome is me being successful. But I've also had so much success in the past that I know to not settle. And I keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying until shit works. Where I think a lot of guys would have just said, hey, everything looks wrong. I'm going to tag out on this buck.
Mm-hmm.
I prefer just to be happy with a small 5-point elk and maybe a 140 deer. And just life is just easier
a lot of guys
that way.
go through life much happier than me.
Life is just easier that way.
That asks you another question. How many times have you went into the general either archery or fucking rifle season and you didn't have a buck?
There's been a couple times in the last few years.
Has there?
Yeah. Most of the time I've got something found, but it's been really tough the last few years. Like deer hunting in Idaho has been exceptionally hard pretty much since 2017. Like that
winter,
like winter crowded, destroyed our deer.
So it's mostly winter.
Yeah. Winter, as much as people like to think that we control things, we really, really don't. The weather controls the deer as more than anything by like tenfold. If we have good moisture and mild winters, the deer will do well. If we have bad winters and a dry climate, we're not going to grow deer. Like we're going to kill deer in the winter and we're not going to grow them in the summer.
Deer sites, this is my opinion from the elk side. I keep hearing this overcrowded. I've always seen people.
That's easy to disprove. So
that hasn't been the case for me. I have not seen those people.
If you look, another really good friend of mine, Ryan Hatfield, has an awesome book that if you cared all about deer in Idaho, you should buy.
He has two.
He has 2 books.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in his book, what is it? Idaho's Greatest Mule Deer.
Yep.
In his book, Idaho's Greatest Mule Deer, I don't remember if it's the first one or the second one. I'm pretty sure it's in the first one. It points out how many hunters in the state of Idaho are hunting deer every year. And now it's also funny that people complain about non-residents because we have capped non-residents in every unit now.
Yep.
But we have less hunter participation than we had through some of the best years we had in deer hunting in Idaho. I don't remember the exact years. I don't remember the exact numbers. I'm not going to make shit up just to say a number. But the amount of hunters we have hunting mule deer or deer in general in the state of Idaho right now is no higher than it's been in the past. I think a lot of what people are complaining about now is that people hunt longer. So there's not more people, but the people that are there longer. And I think the biggest reason why people complain about non-residents, there's 2 reasons. One, they try harder than you. They're more successful than you. Like, quit complaining about people that are better than you. You can try harder and be better too. Like the guys who come from another state and pay non-resident prices are not showing up for the weekend and they're not going to not quit. Like they're not going to show up and not try hard. They're trying harder than you and they're probably better. And the other thing, I got sidetracked. That's one of the things that makes me angry is because I'm a non-resident in a lot more states than I'm a resident in. And when people complain about non-residents, it's like their numbers are capped. There's a certain amount of them that can hunt every unit every year. There's not more of them than there is you. You're just seeing them coincidentally, and they probably are in better places because they're probably better hunters.
Better e-scouters.
Yeah, this goes back to what we started with. people just want to fucking bitch and whine about things. To this day, there are units like we'll spotlight one unit because I've been there. 39 is a fucking busy place.
Yeah, you can't fuck up 39. It's already fucked up.
It's already fucked up, but you can find big fucking deer in 39.
I killed a 9.5-year-old deer in 39 2 years ago.
Me and Jim found a fucking monster. We fucked up on it. So, I mean, you can find them. I don't see that as being the problem. I think when you go back to those earlier days, there was more private land and it was easier hunting. They could shoot that little buck they wanted to shoot from the road. Now you probably got to work a little harder. And those non-residents are working harder than you. I agree with that.
Well, and 39 is such a weird situation. Like if you want to look far enough back, like 39 is kind of hamstrung by winter range. For people who are familiar with southern Idaho, there's actually an area called Deer Flat. It's clear over towards Caldwell, 20 plus, maybe 30 miles away from Boise. That was historical winter range for mule deer. All of the mule deer that winter on the Boise front in the mountains used to winter 20 plus miles further away. So like winter range is kind of one of the more critical components of what dictates the carrying capacity of a deer herd. Now, if they have really, really good summer range, they can basically starve most of the winter and they won't die if it's not a hard enough winter. But, you know, there's so much going on in this whole thing. And those deer are even shifting further south than what their historical winter range is just from new neighborhoods being built and development. But
well, the thing is, maybe stop bitching, look harder, or the Fish and Game's going to make some remedies that nobody likes to see.
Yeah, when Fish and Game gives us a solution, it's nothing. It's nothing we want,
and we rarely ever go back.
Yeah,
and I don't want what they're.
And that's not Fish and Game's fault.
No, they're taking in the community comments.
They're trying to get people to stop whining. They manage people more than they manage game. So when you complain and you're telling Fish and Game there's a problem, more likely than not, their solution is to manage you.
Correct. To get the whiners to stop. And the whiners will never stop.
Yeah.
All right, we're getting to hour 20 minutes. We got to talk real quick about your new jimmies and the bolt knobs.
Yeah, put some stuff out on the table if you guys are watching on YouTube there. We talked a little bit about this was an inspiration from the thread. So the nitride and lightning cuts on this action here, something we're still doing, something still very popular. We can remove 4 ounces off the action. You can nitride it or you can elite Cerakote it.
From the horse's mouth. What's the lead time? I know we changed it. We got to be open and honest. It was 6 or 8 weeks.
Oh yeah. So it was basically set at 3 weeks for machining and 3 weeks for nitride. That was my bad because somebody said 6. So I split it in 2. In reality, it was 6 for both.
Okay.
Now we're at 12 weeks. Sometimes it doesn't take that long. Sometimes it does. It has to do with batching and how many we have to wait for a certain amount of actions before we can send them in. So there's some different things there, but it says 12 weeks in the product description, but still doing it, still available. And now we have a new, we're going to have several different bolt handles and knobs, but the current one that's the most popular is the short standard with the 1-inch ball. This is Form's design and Form's approved.
Formalicious.
You bought, what'd you buy? 3, 4, 7? What's your opinion on its ability to improve your bolt cycling?
When you actually understand the mechanics of how you're supposed to run a bolt, they are much, much better.
Oh, yeah.
Like as a naive person going into it, I would have thought they were kind of silly. But when Form physically demonstrates and explains to you why you want this design. So a few things they do. Number one, where they're a little bit shorter, you are less likely to bump it. One of the issues with the Tikka design is that the bolt where it hangs out, if you are to bump the bolt up slightly, you can get a light strike on the primer. So that's one of the issues with the Tikka, where these are shorter. Fire. Where these are shorter, you're less likely to screw that up.
Yeah, so it'll still fire from a few degrees up out of position.
Yeah,
but your engagement and your firing pin ignition is not the same.
Yeah, you will get light primer strikes if it is up high enough. So you are less likely to bump. It's more out of the way so you can be sloppy and not screw up the gun. Like it's a you screwing up the gun issue. The other thing where it comes out straight, it also puts it at a position where if you are properly on the gun, you don't actually have to remove your wrist from the gun. Like you can, without moving your arm nearly as much as the normal bolt, you are able to cycle the bolt almost entirely with a wrist movement, which makes you way faster on cycling the bolt. And it's also moving the gun less. The less you move your position and the less you move the gun, the faster you can make a follow-up shot.
We're going to have a video of him doing it because
Oh yeah.
it looks like almost a
He can-
semi-automatic.
He can run the bolt with the first 2 fingers and fire with his middle finger and almost look like a full freaking auto.
Yeah, it's
It's
fast.
pretty good. Yeah, it's fast.
It's fast.
It's really fast.
Like once I saw how they worked, it's like I need a lot of those.
Yeah. So new bolt handle knob. Now there's going to be also a long standard and then some skeletonized versions as well as several other bolt knobs. But that's the only one that's available for the moment. The rest will be out in within a couple months. We got new ammo caddies just come out. This one is a 3-stack 223. The reason why we come out with this is simply to solve some issues with the other 2-round type of holders. Most of those issues revolve around the ammunition falling out. A lot of guys like 33XC will be walking through the woods with a rifle. You got 2 rounds on the side of the rifle because it's a single feed, and by the time you get back, the rounds are gone. This can't happen with that. So we have a short Magnum, short standard, and then a 3-round 223 so far. Ryan requested a larger Jimmy, not because he's larger in stature, but because his suppressors are. So before we had basically a 4-inch version for just the end of the suppressor. This was kind of my idea to cover all the different lengths, but Ryan brought up that he'd like it to be basically full girth, full
Fit 1.7, 1.8,
full coverage.
1.7, 1.8, I should say, diameter can.
Yeah, and then it's also 7 inches long now.
Yeah, and it's waterproof. So if it's really hard to tape up like a scythe with a brake on the end, you'd have to tape the shit out of it.
Yeah, all the
So
new
it's
brake
a lot
suppressors coming out from Thunder Beast and whatnot. Yeah, so this is a Magnum short and a Magnum long, basically 4-inch suppressor and 7-inch suppressor. So the 7 inch is the new size. Happened to be a rock stock out here just for whatever. And then we got the new Tikka magazine just kind of sitting here as a teaser. The bottom metal is done. The mags are almost all the way done. So we'll have a UM proprietary bottom metal and mag that will allow for 3.5 inches plus inside the magazine. It's going to be 5 rounds standard and 4 rounds Magnum. That includes belted Magnum. We actually tested this. The idea behind this bottom metal mag, guys, is so that you could take a Tikka rifle out of the factory box and drop this bottom metal and mag in, replace the bolt stop, which it will come with, and you're going to bump all the way from 3.34 up to 3.54. So 2 full tenths of an inch added to your length and additional magazine capacity. Yeah, so that's just about to come out here in a minute.
Lots of nice new little trinkets.
And we're not going to stop there. We're in the process of working on a Tikka bolt, and that will evolve into a Tikka action. This will be a U.S.-made Tikka action that probably has all the bells and whistles already attached to it, but still a Tikka trigger, all that good stuff. Yeah, we're probably not going to stop there. It'll be everything and anything.
Now we have Dioni testing out some primers.
Oh, yeah, I brought those. So we scored some White River Energetics primers, and I want to see if I want to be carrying those here at the shop. So he has the OCD level for proper testing. So I gave him...
I have the right disorders.
Yes, you do.
He has that autism.
So we'll actually...
I got a touch of the tism.
He's on the spectrum. So when he comes back, lets us know. Basically, we'll do some ESSD/velocity testing compared to the normal CCI 250/Fed 215 match primers most of us are using. As you all well know, large rifle primers in general are extremely hard to get. So that's White River Energetics is a new U.S. primer supplier back east, and we'll see how that goes pretty soon. Once I'm sure he'll have a report.
I'm gonna shoot
At
a whole
some
bunch
point.
this next week.
There you go.
No,
I got a sweet new rifle to try to burn down.
Hell yeah.
What do you got?
I got me a Tikka.
A Tikka.
Tikka.
22 Creed. What do we do? Is a Tikka Sporter ace barrel?
Yep.
Fluted.
Yep. Did it all up.
7 or
Nitride.
7.5.
I thought it was 7.7. I might be making that up. 7.5 maybe.
Yeah, let's just call it 7.5.
Okay.
88 ELDMs.
Yes.
All right, good deal. Potentially killing a moose here in a minute.
Hoping to kill a moose with
Dude,
it.
you got
There
it.
you go.
You've got to now.
Yeah. Gonna triple tap him because I can shoot that fast.
With your pincher. All right, you got last word. What do you got for us? Anything?
Oh man. I don't know. I'm just excited about all the new stuff you guys are making. Like it's
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of this, at least the whole Tikka side of things, has to do with guys like yourself. I know you went through your process of getting rid of 700 stuff, moving into Tikka for your reasons.
I've had guns fail. Like literally, I've got on video with a high 180s buck where I go to shoot him as he's walking through the timber. Literally set up a camera. I'm on the gun. I'm like dry firing him as I can see bits and pieces of him through the timber. He steps into the opening. I run a bullet, lick the safety off, click.
Yeah.
Gun doesn't go off. And I'm having a panic attack. So then I pull the bullet out, dry fire the gun a whole bunch of times, move the camera to the next opening. Deer happens to walk into it and I get him killed. But I've got it on video of this gun fucking up.
Yeah.
And it was a trigger problem. It wasn't the gun. It was a Remington 700 trigger. Like there's just issues with Remington 700 triggers. And I've had hunts where I've gone, and I know from experience where guns like stuff freezes. I was -8 on a hunt. And I remember every hour I was setting an alarm to remind myself to dry fire the gun just so nothing froze. Like I'm going to run this bolt and drop the firing pin every hour so that I know it's not frozen. And the Tikkas are just, they're not immune, but you're a lot less likely to have that stupid shit ruin your hunt.
No.
They call it the North Idaho special, where it gets sleety right before dark, and then it freezes up hard.
Yeah.
And it's really screwed me out of things where the Tikka does, I'm not going to say the Tikka always will run, but you can get it also when it is fucked up, you can get it to run faster. You don't have to take it and totally warm it up to get it to work again.
Yeah.
You can bang on it, you can run it a few times, and then it'll start firing. And that matters, especially if
and shit, like
live a
just the
lifetime.
little, like I learned from super cold weather hunts, like don't sleep with your gun in your tent. You will condensate that thing out and you will
Leave
freeze
the
it and
shit
fuck up
outside.
your gun.
Mhm.
Like leave it outside. As hard as it is on my brain to just leave the gun outside and say it's better getting snow on it. Like it's just the Tikkas.
Actually, that's what made the Jimmy become born as a product, is that Ryan had his upside down as his solution for not having, it freeze up inside. He puts the rifle upside down. And he had to find something to put the suppressor or whatever on, and that's where the Jimmy came from.
Yeah.
That was one of our first hunts.
I was same thing. I leave mine against the tree, like upside down, and sometimes in the tent, and you will run into problems with shit freezing up.
Yeah.
You have less issues with the Tikka.
Absolutely.
So anyways, so we're all in on the Tikka shit. You guys ever have Tikka ideas, you're welcome to let us know, but we're not going to stop till we have all the parts. Yep.
I didn't even tell Jake this. We're going to change this up a little bit. We were pulling, giving away rings, the Premier or the Tikka rings for YouTube subscribers, but now we're going to change it up because we need some speak pipes.
Okay.
So if we use your speak pipe, we're going to give you either your choice of Premier rings or Tikka rings. So
all you
got to do is go to the website. It says leave a message right on the front page. Leave us a message, and if we answer that one, we will send you some rings.
And Ryan's buying, so bring them on.
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Your idea, baby.
Okay, now I guess I got to buy them. All right. So yeah, please leave us a speak pipe. It's really simple and easy. And if you have a question for me or Jake
no, it has to be a good question.
Well, you can't, we get a lot of stupid fucking questions. I hate it.
It can't just be Luke calling in talking shit about Jake.
No,
everybody did that.
People say there's no stupid questions. I agree. There's just stupid fucking people.
Yeah.
So don't be stupid.
And that'll be Ryan's decision.
If
so
you're
you better
a
be
stupid
on
person
point.
trying your hardest, you don't get credit.
You don't get no fucking credit. But if you're serious and you have a question for me or Jake, you can also get a hold of us. It's off the record at podcast@shoothunt.com. You can find Dioni at
Hey, Instagram.
I'm on Rock Slide.
Instagram.
It's my name.
Instagram.
Wild_Idaho.
Or you're
I'm not real active on there unless
but you're
I'm dropping
also
a gun.
on Rockslide a lot. And what's your name on Rockslide?
Just my name.
Dioni.
Yeah.
There you go.
There's only one.
I think I honestly though I don't think it let me do just my name though. It might have been like a length requirement.
I think it's just Dioni though, isn't it?
Well, I thought it was Dioni A. I thought I did first.
I think it is Dioni A.
Yeah.
There's only one of you, dude.
Yeah, it's just me.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.